Titles will be Amy Levine. Thank you, Amy.
Thanks, Amy.
My pleasure.
And our judge tonight is Ellen Cox. Ellen lives in the Chicago area and was recommended by Tony Reynes.
All right.
From Tony's recent experiences. Ellen was formerly a large format film photographer and printer, as he was telling us tonight. He's now a retired software engineer, having worked a significant portion of his career on large-scale military digital cameras and other imaging applications. He's the past and current president of the Schaumburg Area Photographic Society and is currently responsible for competitions there. He has taught at many of the clubs in the Chicago area and at the Chicago Area Photographic School. So with that, welcome, Alan.
Yeah, sounds great.
Oh, thank you. First off, let me say what an honor it is to get this responsibility. I guess I'll thank Tony later, but I hope I do him justice by recommending me, and I do take this seriously. It's a good thing I didn't have any more days with the images, because I don't know that it would have come out any different, but I would have probably still been looking at them, trying to make sure that I picked the right things. And, I'm used to judging with a couple of other judges, in the Chicago area. We usually have 3 of us for a lot of the competitions. And so you find out if you don't have the other 2 having your back, when you're on the fence, ordinarily with 2 other judges, you can always say in your mind that, they'll probably tilt the other way and it'll all come out where it should be. But it's not the case tonight. And also, having never been a member of your club and seeing how this operates, a little bit of a loss as to what percentage of honors are usually given. What's the trade-offs on places versus honorable mention. And I did get one caution that if I gave too many honorable mentions, it'd make the presentation go way too long. So I've got 2 potential apologies to make then. One, if I didn't give enough places and you were caught by that, I apologize. And if I gave too many, then I apologize to everyone. So we'll see how it turns out. So, but I do consider it an honor. And I took a look at the N4C and the level of images that are out there, and I was very impressed. And so I'm honored.
Thank you. So we'll start with Pictorial, new Pictorial in journalism. Then we'll take a 5-minute break. Then we'll cover Monochrome and creative and critique feedback. Take another 5-minute break and then go through the winners.
Pictorial, basic, 1 image.
Let me also say that I'm looking at the images tonight on the laptop that's set up for Zoom. And these were all judged on a 4K Dell that's calibrated. So I may not be able to see them quite as well tonight as I did when I was judging. And I hope I remember everything that I saw then. So, Bill, about how long would you like me to talk on each of these?
You'll see the title for 60 seconds. That's a good rough
okay.
Estimate.
Inhospitable.
Okay. It's a nice recording of quite a barren landscape, and it's not even obvious what this structure originally was. And so, but it's well composed, and you've got some nice area around it. If you crop this too tight, then it wouldn't show how isolated it is. And so I think the maker did a good job of accurately portraying it, and it's nice and sharp. It's got good detail, accurate color, And so I think it's a nice image in that regard. As to what to improve, I'm not sure there's a whole lot, you know, it depends on what monitor you're looking at as to whether the stones are a little bright or not. But I think, as I recall, there was plenty of detail there, and I'm seeing quite a bit of that here.
Okay.
Pictorial intermediate, 3 images. Abalone.
Yeah, if we didn't have the title, you'd probably wonder what this is for a while. And the pearlescence gives you all these wonderful colors and this abstract design. And I think the maker, has captured the colors well. I might have underexposed a little bit to try to get the color brought out even more. Maybe to pick up a little contrast or use a dehaze filter, but it's quite an amazing abstract that occurs in nature.
When you finish, just say next, so like that.
Okay, next.
Coming home.
This is the perfect time of the evening to be landing. You got the blue hour going on and you still have the red left in the sunset. And I used to travel a lot, and this sort of a time in the evening was always my favorite time to be landing, and because it looked just like this. And this shot is got a lot of great detail. You can see it all in the lights and the roads and things. And the wing, it's very well composed. It's perfectly horizontal, like it should be. And even that slight white edge to the wing, that's not over sharpening. That's just the reflection of the what's left of the sun. And so I think this is a great title and a great image. Next.
Fall at Spring Lake.
We've got quite a collection here, mostly of oak leaves and a few different colors. And it's a little bit maybe on the brighter side for my taste. I think I would at least tried seeing what maybe a darkened version looked like. Also, this and maybe even one of the earlier shots, if you use a polarizer filter, you can knock off some of the glare and you'll get much more concentrated colors. It'd be nice if you could kind of single out, one individual leaf or group of leaves that kind of form the subject or the area where you could look at. So this is, you kind of wander around on this one, but it does definitely represent the fall. Next.
Pictorial Advanced, 8 images. Foggy day in the fjord, Svalbard.
Well, it's definitely foggy. And, when you travel, you don't get a lot of choices as to weather. And so sometimes you just have to do the best you can. And the maker has done a good job of capturing the detail of the rock. And it's nice and sharp. It's the best exposure you could hope for under these conditions. And so I think the maker did, it's a nice composition. You did the best that you could under the circumstances. Next.
Sasika Rayunya, Queen of the Jungle.
Wow, it doesn't get much more intense than this. you know, you got an incredible cat right here, and looking right back at you. You've got color in the eyes. A lot of times on an animal, if depending on the lighting conditions, you can just end up with black eyes. But you've got beautiful lighting here, so that you've lit up the golden part of the eyes. It's great detail, and all the fur and everything. You've got a nice dark background and a good base in the stone below. It's well composed. The only thing that, you know, if the editing is allowed, then I would take out some of those small little dead tree twigs and things in the left side of the image, the left upper corner. And in general, go around and clean up anything like that that might be distractive or considered clutter. But it's a great, intense image, wonderful color. It's natural color. It's not overemphasized, and so it's a wonderful capture. And next,
End of a Journey, Glacier National Park.
that's one of my favorite parks, and I'm not sure exactly which lake this is and everything, but it's well captured. The greenery, you know, you get in the summertime, that it's accurately recorded here. You got a little bit of snow left up on the mountains, and the hiking in Glacier is just spectacular. The only little nits, if I were to try to pick some, would be that the composition, I might like there to be a little bit more. I'd like to see a little more on the left. And also, it's not quite straight. The first thing I noticed were that the trees weren't pointing up. They were pointing kind of up and to the left. And you also, one way you can always tell if something is straight is to look at the reflection of things in the water. And if you look down at the edge of the water where there's trees or some object, you can see that the reflection and the tree don't line up perfectly vertical. So it needs to be tilted a little bit to the right. But other than that, I don't see anything, you know, that's wrong with it. The exposure is right on, got wonderful detail. And so I think this was a good capture. So next.
Dancing Shadows.
Well, you can definitely see the shadows, and you can be sure they're dancing. This is a wonderful cultural type event. I'm sure it's probably a special occasion for them, and it's a really nice composition with the line of the feet going kind of diagonal, and you see the shadows then going out to the left. The only thing, you know, if you wanted to emphasize the shadows, you might use a little bit of a like I say, a dehaze or something, at least on that part, to make the shadows give them more contrast. But the composition is right there. All of these men in the photo are just exactly where they should be, and leaving some room in front of them for them to move into. So it's a very nice image.
Shorebirds feed in the last light of the sun. San Pablo Bay Wildlife Refuge.
You've got some really nice reflection on the wet area, the coastal type area here of the lake, I guess it is. And the birds and their reflections, it's very calm. It's nice and sharp. You've got some of them flying up in the sky. the road and the power lines, of course, don't add to the feeling of the wildlife. If they're allowed in general pictorial, then I would tend to take the traffic and the power lines out. That's the only thing that I see is maybe room for improvement. Next.
Glacial fabulousness, Svalbard 2018.
You got your beautiful blue ice, the glacial blue ice here. It's very sharp. It does kind of blend into the fog above, since that's the way it is. And the blue is quite intriguing, and the different what I want to say, structures that are formed there as it moves and breaks up. Very nice. There's not one particular place to look at in this photograph as a maybe a definite point of interest, which might make it a little bit stronger, but it's very good view of this glacier ice. Next.
Silent wave, early morning light just beginning to illuminate the dark downwind side of a Indian sand dune and excessive wave.
You've got quite a composition here with the blue sky and the curve of the ridge of these sand dunes, and just the right time of the day to light up the other side to where you at least are starting to see some detail. I'd kind of like to see a little bit more detail and in both sides, maybe something on the ridge, or even the dark side looks like it's fairly soft, and I might suspect that some sort of a noise removal or something going on similar has also removed some of the detail and the grittiness of the sand. But I like the figure, the nice curves and how they end up there at the peak, and the blue sky. It makes it quite a study, and dunes are always interesting subjects. Next.
Deep in reflection.
Well, you got a crocodile here, and the surrounded by this green water. It's and the reflection coming off of it is quite amazing. The detail that's also in the reflection, and I was trying to figure out, how you could get the motion of the water and how that could seem to kind of blur across there and still keep such amazing detail in the crocodile. And I just didn't ever come to a conclusion other than the fact that maybe it was just the perfect exposure time and kept the water moving, and the crocodile was perfectly still. But I think it's a great capture. It's just the right exposure, and the color. Sometimes there's a tendency to oversaturate, but this one isn't, and so it's a great capture of this crocodile. Next.
Pictorial masters, 9 images. Nankoweap Overlook, Grand Canyon National Park, Arizona.
You got a perfect view down the canyon here, and you've got the stone walls on each side, and you've got a willing subject down there to pose for this, And it's either that or you set it on a timed exposure and hurried down there. But either way, it's you've got a person in a very good spot to be looking down the canyon there. It's a very tough to get the right exposure on these, and the maker's done a good job of maintaining some detail in the shadow and maintaining detail in the far wall and the light sky. If I had a walkie-talkie, I'd like for the subject to look more straight down the canyon instead of kind of toward the left, like she's doing. But that's a very small nit. I mean, that's splitting hairs. So, you know, it's a great setup and great image. Next.
Flamingo Dawn.
Boy, it's really calm, and you've got these flamingos and their reflections, and I really like this composition with these golden type shrubbery areas, and even the little trees, small trees on the hillside there. It all the flamingos are at a very good position, and everything in this image supports the flamingos, and they aren't merging with any of the bushes. The one tiny little bush there, maybe behind a couple of them, but otherwise they have their own dark background. Overall, this image looks like maybe it's been just ever so carefully vignetted, not where you could say for sure, but it just highlights the subject and your eyes go straight to the flamingos. So it's very well done. Next.
Further, some blue.
You've got quite a collection of camels and goats and everything here. This is, you don't see this every day. And so it's a very interesting subject. And you've got the herder is dressed and very colorful. And you've got a lot of contrast there between the skin and the camel behind it. So it's well placed in the frame. It's maybe just a little bit lighter than I would like, especially around the outside. I might like to put just a little bit of a natural looking vignette to it, maybe not so much that people would notice, but to concentrate more on the herder and the camels and the goats. So, but very nice travel image. Next.
Lavender glows in the morning light.
Boy, sure got out there at the right time of the morning. The light is just wonderful at this time of the day. And you've got some of those long shadows on the grassy areas. They just light up this lavender, and it brings out their color and kind of the different shades that are going on there as they go through their life cycle with both the lights and the real intense blues, purples. The only thing, that you really can't do a lot about is the sky is fairly plain. And since the sky is where it is and that house is where it is, and that's the lightest part of the image, your eye does go right there right off the bat, in addition to the looking at here at the color. And I don't know if there's a different cropping that could keep that building out of there, or whether you edit it out or what, but you could try some other approaches to getting it out. They might not work. I might be all wrong on that, but the images itself is a very nice time of the day, very sharp, very nice exposure. Next.
Yes, Toto, we're back in Kansas.
Wow, that is flat, and that is a storm cloud. And you've got your wheat fields here, or wheat or oats, can't tell, but it definitely makes you think of Dorothy and Toto. You know, in an ideal world, you would have a Dorothy and a Toto out here. So if you've got a granddaughter or a neighbor girl and you can put her in the right dress and holding a dog, go for it, you know. But if you don't, then you still have a wonderful image. So next.
First,
This is wonderful detail in this bumblebee here, and you can see one that's probably coming or going, and it's very well composed with the flower. The bee itself is just perfect, and the flower is a little more exposure than maybe I would like, and I might like to put a little more contrast into that yellow part that it's working on. And then those orangey red petals, I would darken them down, and that way it wouldn't show as much that they're kind of soft, as well as the green part of the stalk. Darken that down, and a little bit. You notice that the background is darker at the top and lighter at the bottom. That's maybe kind of the opposite of what you would naturally like. You'd like to have a darker base. So I would definitely work on darkening that lower portion to at least maybe make it about the same as what the upper portion is in terms of darkness. But it's a wonderful capture. You've got a very sharp bumblebee, and just you caught it at the perfect moment when that other one is incoming. And I don't mind at all that the second bumblebee is soft and slightly out of focus. But it's a very nice composition. And next.
the first waves of the advancing squall.
Yeah, you've definitely got some pretty good waves going on here. You've got wonderful detail in the clouds. You've got the shoreline and the water and everything. Very nice highlights, and you know, you've held those highlights up there in the clouds, and you've held the detail in the splashes of the waves. A lot of the action is going on in maybe the right 2/3. I might like to see what a different cropping would be where part of the left were gone. Might be a little stronger. I'm not sure, but it's definitely a nice scene, and fortunate to capture, to be there at the right time, and well exposed and great detail. Next.
The reward for being a street photographer.
Boy, that you have to smile when you look at this. And you've got the two of them, either the dad or probably might even be the granddad and the little girl. And they're both wonderfully having a good time and a laugh, and maybe even racing or something. And you just happen to catch it at the right moment. And the composition is nice in that it gives a little more room to the little girl, and I kind of like that. As far as knits go and things that I might maybe work on, this, whatever this is in the lower right corner that's sticking up, you know, is not vertical. I don't know if you could straighten that, it would look any better. And a little bit maybe more of a vignette to keep the concentration on the two of them. But they've got beautiful expressions and captured the detail. The focus was just right on them. And so it's a great capture and very nice, sweet moment. So next.
Just bath at sunset. And yeah,
They've got quite a striking image here with the zebra kicking up the dust and taking its dust bath there. You got the silhouette going on from the dust. You got the light from the dust and everything. You know, you got a few hooves in the back that are kind of merging with the darker area, but that's not the important part. The important part is more the head and the front of the zebra. You've maintained the detail in the background off toward the top, and you've got enough of a base, a dark base across the bottom to support the image. There's enough area around the zebra. You haven't overly crowded it. You know, it's a wildlife image, so you don't want to overcrowd wildlife. And so the maker, I think, has done a wonderful job of capturing this moment and presenting this image. Next.
journalism, intermediate, one image. Waterfront revival. Paluma developed as a commercial hub with granaries, mills, and warehouses on its fronts. Waterfront revival 2. The railroad along the river brought grain and produce to Petaluma to ship to San Francisco. The city plans to restore the trestle as a walkway with access to shops and restaurants.
Okay. This is a very nice, I want to say, capture and presentation of the story that blends part of history with the current modern day and showing, you know, what's going on in the way of the shops and the, you know, a few booths along the walkway. And it shows the trestle here. And the second shot actually shows the decaying railroad ties and the line. And so it's a very nice presentation, I think, of this story. And it makes you kind of piques your interest for the area and going there to see what it's all about. Next.
Journalism advanced, 2 images. Pictorial body painting. Pictorial men of the Xingu region of Brazil paint themselves and each other in preparation for Kalarawan, the fish festival. The black paint is a mixture of a fleshy fruit known as a ganapapo and charcoal. Red paint comes from annatto, which is derived from the seeds of a local achiote.
Okay, this, I think, is the same event that we saw earlier when they were lined up and dancing. And here we see the preparation and the actual painting and the story. Something about how the paints are derived. In this image, you can't quite see his finger and where he's doing the painting. In the next image, you can actually see the painting and you can see his face and where he's applying the paints and everything. And my thought was, when we're looking back at the first image, since we can't really see where he's painting or much of his face doing the painting, you know, what we see that we don't normally see every day on the street are these backsides, okay? And especially since that's the light, one of the lightest parts of the image is your eye when this comes up doesn't go to what he's doing painting because you can't really see that anyway. What you go straight to are the backsides. And one of my thoughts on this would be, for example, maybe if you flip these two first images so that the next image where you actually see the painting, if you presented it first, you could actually see the painting, and then you could go to the other one, and finally the third one as it is. And you could even switch, I think, because the first image shows a lot of the black, you know, there's a lot of the black on them and the legs and shoulders and things. So I think you could switch it, but it's a very unique cultural event. It's something that I'm sure is very special to them. And you did a great job of capturing the details and the close up here of the red and the paint, and went to the trouble of getting all the spellings of all these things and where the paint is derived. I think is great to share with everyone that since not everyone gets a chance to witness something like this. So well done. Next.
Airborne cowboy and bucking bull. The flank strap placed around the horse in front of its back legs encourages the horse to kick out straighter and higher when it bucks. Cottonwood Rodeo, May of 2014.
Well, I think this is a great example of how you can tell a story with one image, because you clearly see, obviously the horse and the rider, but you even got the nice sign in the back that says "Welcome, rodeo fans." You also clearly see these straps that we're talking about, and something that maybe wasn't in the text, but you see how the buckles are not buckled on the straps. That's so that these backup riders that can come in as soon as the time is up can come in and grab those little ends sticking out and pop them and relieve the tension. And, that calms the horse down and it's done its job. And this is a great composition of, with the rider with that hand up in the air. If that hand up in the air touches the horse, the time's up, and so that's the way it's up there, the exposure, the composition, you got the sign going in the background, everything. And he's kicking up in the air like the description says. So it's a very, very good image. Very good story.
Journalism masters, 3 images. Aleutian Storm. A fishing boat, the Aleutian Storm, was pushed ashore at Salmon Creek State Beach by strong winds and heavy surf on the night of February 9, 2024. Teams of salvage workers attempted to fasten lines to a tugboat to remove the boat from the beach. They were unsuccessful due to a broken line and extremely dangerous conditions. The crew scrambled into the bucket of a backhoe to escape. The boat was later taken apart by another salvage crew to remove it from the beach.
Wow, what an event. And to be there, not only to witness it, but to record the event in these pictures for other people to see. I think the makers to be commended. You clearly see the boat and the peril that it's in, and how they're trying to attach lines and get it off the beach. You can see the name of the boat and everything, and the waves crashing into it, trying to force it back up into the sand. In the next image, and you saw the bucket in that. Now you're seeing the bucket coming in closer. And in the last image, you actually get to see the crew scrambling into the bucket to abandon ship. It's about the only way to get off there without a lot of risk. And so I think the maker did a wonderful job of telling this story in these pictures and being there at the right time. And they're all sharp. There's nothing unnecessary in the picture, and but it got all of the action, and it even tells what happened afterwards. Because in your mind, you're always wondering, what happened to this boat? Did they eventually get it pulled off and return it to service or not? Well, the caption tells the story. So very good. Next.
Foiling and flying. The F-50 sailing catamarans reach speeds up to 60 miles per hour by using hydrofoils to reduce drag by raising the craft above the water surface. Foiling has recently been extended to single-person sailboats with the expected speed increases and even to wingboarding where limited flight is possible. 2024 Sail GP San Francisco.
I've always been a fan of the sailing, and the equipment has just gotten phenomenal, and especially this foiling. They've been using that technology for a lot of years, but it's now come into a lot of the racing circuits, and but you can see this craft, and you can see the foils, and how everyone is all geared up in their helmets and everything. And so know that there's a lot of speed and involved, and there's not a lot of room for error in these. They're really moving, and this tells a story about it. And the foils. In the next shot, you can see the foils on two smaller craft and how they're able to take advantage of it. And this shot's got close enough so that you can see the intensity of the faces and how they're working the ropes and watching everything that they need to. I've never seen this before. In the third image of them, using the hydrofoils and the wingboarding, that's something I haven't ever seen before. So that's looks like a lot of fun, and they must be quite athletic to do this. And you see the one coming out of the water, and this is well composed, getting a piece of the other two coming up there from the right. I don't have any criticism of any of these shots. I don't know that you could tell the story any better than what these three shots have. So well done. Next.
Avalanche. Iceland is known for volcanoes, but modern detection methods have prevented loss of life due to eruptions. Avalanches, however, are deadly, so protective measures are necessary. In 1995, 2 avalanches killed 34 people. This spurred the government to build steel wire snow retention structures to slow down or stop avalanches near inhabited areas. For further protection, snow catchment structures such as berms create space for sliding snow to accumulate rather than continue on to destroy inhabited buildings. Berms serve a double purpose as communities construct walking and bicycling paths on top of them, provide recreational opportunities for their citizens.
This, if you saw an image like, if you saw this scene in this first image, everyone would have to wonder what those structures are and why they're there. And I think, this sequence and the captions tell the story very well of why it's important to have these structures there and how they're protecting this town village here. And it's a very good image. It's got the structures themselves as well as the village, and you can see how they're positioned relative to each other. And in the next image, then you can see the berm. Well, you can see these, it's close-up of them and what they look like. And then you see in the third one on the berm and how much area there is behind it to retain some of the snow. And then you get a chance to see the path along the top. The text tells you that, they can use for more than one thing. So I think this sequence of 4 images does a nice job of telling a story. And the maker even threw in these 2 flowers for free. So next.
Okay, we've covered pictorial and journalism. We'll take a 5-minute break.
Monochrome, basic, 3 images. Calm after the storm.
Definitely calm here. You can see in the reflection that there's very little movement in the water, and you've got a nice curve of the old tree there, what's left of it, and the maker's done a good job of framing this, showing enough of the shoreline on the left and the tree and the branches and the water, everything, a little bit of the clouds. So I don't know in particular what else you could do on this. It's an accurate, portrayal of this image. I mean, of this location and this tree, and you caught it at the right time. So, it is, I think the best you can do with this particular subject.
Fort Rock.
You've got 2 different rock formations here. And I guess the Fort Rock is the one on the right. I can't be sure or whether it's the one on the left. So it's kind of hard to, with the clouds being somewhat overcast like this, it's always hard to get the right exposure on everything. But I think the maker's done a good job. You have ended up losing some of the detail in the clouds, and even maybe some of the darker areas of the rock. But it's about the best you could do with such a wide range of dynamic range. It's always hard when you have 2 centers of interest. Your eye tends to go back and forth between the 2. And so I don't know which one of these 2 is the most important in this case. It might be better if you concentrate and make one of the 2 predominate the image by cropping or maybe a different vantage point. But it's very, very sharp. And like I said, I think you got the best exposure you could out of this. So next.
Halo.
You caught the right sort of conditions where you got a cloud forming up above the mountain there from the cold air coming off the snow, and to form this. And of quite a lot of trees and forests in the foreground to kind of give the image a good base. There is quite a bit of softness or something going on. It's either the haze or something, to where a lot of all the trees and the foliage are kind of just getting, I don't want to say blurred, maybe kind of muddied together, and to where you don't see detail in them. Might have lost a little bit of detail in the snow, but you have the major parts of the detail in the snow preserved. The same goes for the little bit of a cloud. Capturing this maybe in an HDR in multiple exposures and some of those workflows, you might end up with a better result. But for a single exposure, this may be it. And like I think I saw in another image back in the earlier, you might have some in camera or otherwise noise removal, removing a little bit too much. And then maybe that's what's going on in the foliage in the bottom third, is that the noise and removal may be kind of making it all merge together. So, but quite a unique atmospheric condition and nice portrayal of that. Next.
Monochrome intermediate, 2 images. Deep in thought, Pleasant Corner Restaurant, Keysville, New York.
Well, he's definitely in thought, and it's one of those little restaurants I'm sure that a lot of us may have grown up with. I know I did, and this is one of the locals, I imagine, and he's even got his pencil in case he needs it. And whoever he's sitting across the table from here is kind of has her back to us. Obviously, that's out of focus, and he's in focus. I don't know what you do. I couldn't decide whether I liked the out of focus other person or whether it helped do a frame. I kind of decided, I'm going to defer to the maker on this one, that you have the subject perfectly sharp and showing up in a good spot in the frame. So I'm going to just kind of ignore the other person that's there and out of focus. I think for what you're trying to capture in this person and deep in thought, it's a very good job. Next.
Spinning.
This is some sort of a art piece that I don't know whether this goes out in the yard and for moving in the air. I would suspect something like that. And it's kind of a combination of metal and maybe that's all metal. I'm not sure, or whether there is some glass involved. I'm not sure in some of those pieces. Maybe it's all metal. It's a little bit on the bright side, I believe. I'd like to maybe darken it down to where you can see the texture of the metal just a little bit better. And you didn't try to capture the whole thing, which is probably a good idea. Just clipped off some of the edges enough. You kept the spiral in there in the center. And so I think that's a very nice framing. So next.
Monochrome advanced, 7 images. The cure for pain is in the pain.
Wow, he's definitely getting some serious work done here. And you see the artist as well as the, the tool itself and his gloves. The fellow is just concentrating on getting through it with his eyes closed. And he's got both the expressions there, and they're both attending to what they need to attend to. Nice black background, and it's very, very good capture of this particular event. And it's wonderful detail. You see exactly what he's working on, and you see his face and how he's concentrating. Next.
Inside a herring oil tank. Reykjavik, Iceland, 2018.
That's a quite unique structure, and it must be obviously an older tank. I kind of doubt that it's still in use, but you can see the pipes and everything there, and it's not clear what their purpose is or anything, but it is quite a unique, and the fact that it spirals around like that is kind of unique. It's got the walls and the ceiling, and it's decaying now. So it's if you've never seen something like this, and I never have, then it's kind of interesting to check it all out and see what's involved. It's done a very good job of capturing all the detail and the shadows, the detail in the roof area there, at the top of the tank, and all the detail even in the lower sand or in the concrete type area at the bottom. So it's wonderful detail and exposure, full range of exposures. Next.
Library entrance, Lorraine Civic Center.
Like quite a striking black and white, and you've got beautiful contrast and just perfect symmetry. Even though the tones swap, like for instance, the curved structure that goes up to the right and out of the frame on the right, you've got a curved structure that, because the lighting is dark, and but they're very symmetrical, and you've got the pots with the cactus or something there arranged in the front, and the escalator straight ahead. It's a very good capture, and it's, until you've done it, you don't realize how hard it is to get everything perfectly symmetrical. But the maker's done a wonderful job of that, and capturing all the tones, all the way from the blacks to the whites, and get them in here and maintain all the details in the shadows as well as the light areas. Well done. Next.
Solitude.
You've got kind of a foggy day going on here with some bare trees and some ducks. It's definitely a solitude type condition. It's probably wintertime or out of season. It's not clear why the water is up around these trees, whether there's always water around them or not. But it's a very black and white type subject. It's not very, it doesn't have a whole lot of impact like you see some subjects might have, but it definitely gives you the feeling of the solitude. So next.
Evening View, Battery Point Lighthouse, Crescent City, California, rocks.
here by contrast is very, very sharp darks and whites. And, you've got your waves and, your lighthouse in the distance and all these rocks scattered around and some wave action going on. So it's quite a lot more dramatic. And something like this will have, more impact, partially out of the contrast and partially out of the nature of the subject. But I think it's done a very good job of framing this with the lighthouse and there just in enough of it in the background and a nice curved wave leading into the frame there in the foreground and kicking up a little bit of spray in the middle. So well done. Next.
Remains of an 1890s rural Sonoma County farmhouse after the devastating Kincaid wildfire.
This is shows what can happen, in a wildfire situation and what's left. It's, it makes you wonder about the family and what all they lost. And it's a good exposure, very sharp detail of all the rubble and the chimney just kind of hanging in there. Probably this would do better in a photojournalism, category as opposed to a monochrome, but it is quite a striking image. Next.
Chaparral under cloudy skies.
Okay, so here we have impact on spades, it's a very sharp, I'm going to guess this is infrared. And so you've got a lot of vegetation that's separated by its nature. The vegetation shows up very light, and other things, because they're cooler, show up darker. You've got a big old tree log in the center. It has a lot of character. This is nicely framed. There's quite a bit of things going on, kind of in the center, a little bit to the right there. And also, in an infrared, they're never really sharp, like you would get in a otherwise a different exposure, because the infrared is based on heat and not light. Then you just have to accept that you're going to have areas where the things kind of blend together, like the lower left corner here. Even though that ground is all kind of real soft and kind of mushy, where other areas like the foreground in the middle to the right has got a lot of detail in it. So it's kind of spotty from different places around the image as to how much detail you have and how much infrared blur you end up with. But it is quite striking and it has a lot of impact. So next.
Monochrome masters, 9 images. Dive.
Okay. You got probably a humpback here in this looks like Maui, and it's these are one of the toughest things to photograph, to get an image of them. Of course, everyone wants to see the great shot of them coming up out of the water, breaching, and I can tell you from experience how hard that is to make it happen. You know, this shot, it was probably a nice breach, 1.5 seconds ago. And by the time you get wheeled around with your camera and get it focused and shoot it off, you're lucky if you get a tail like this. So I think the maker did a great job. It's really nicely focused, and you've got the whole, what you can see of the whale going down in the water, and the water running off of the tail as it's diving. So I think, given the circumstances, you did a very good job. So next.
Misty morning.
This kind of reminds me of the other one, but no ducks. So, but you do have a nice reflection going on from the group of the trees, making kind of a dark, watery reflection. And it's nicely composed with the different elements. You've got a few more leaves going on in this particular case, and but nothing particularly striking to look at as a subject. Next.
Hades, Momo Valley in southern Ethiopia.
Got a really contrasty subject here. And what's wonderful about this is it's not straight on. You're not looking at her straight on. You're looking at her reflection as she's looking at herself. And I don't know whether these are shells or stones or what, but she's used to adorn her face. And it's quite contrasty against her skin. And so you get it's quite striking. And you also have all the beads around the neck to kind of match the pattern that's on her face. And so I think this is, and you can see just enough of the side of her face and her eyelashes as she's looking into it but what's in the sharpest detail is the reflection that you're looking at of her face, which is a great job. So well done. Next.
A perfect day.
Well, they're definitely enjoying the day, and you caught them at the right time as they're kind of jumping up and hugging it out there. And you see his face and everything, they're smiling. You don't really, I don't know whether you know who they are or care who they are. They are having a good time. And it's a nice surf conditions and everything. So I don't know what else you would do with it. It's a nice little capture. So next.
A building with secrets.
Boy, there's so much going on in this. You've got a wonderfully detailed building, and I'm not sure what this architectural structure is that's in the right half and upper portion here. And I'm not even, I finally decided that all the little stuff you see in the windows is a reflection probably of back from the maker's viewpoint. And it's causing these kind of unique patterns in the glass. And so there's just a lot to look at here. There's not any one particular place except for the window cleaners. I guess I forget what you call those. It drops down and allows them to clean off all the windows or work on repairs. And you don't, I guess it's kind of hard to tell whether that's them there or I'm looking at pulleys or helmets or faces. But that is kind of an area where your eye goes to see if you can tell what's going on. But there's definitely a lot going on here. You got a lot of stairs on the right side, and a lot of unique looking glass on the whole thing. So it's a lot of contrast and a very good exposure. Next.
Hush in the first minutes of dawn.
You got a nice, interesting structure here. Looks like it's maybe lower tide or something. And you got a pelican, it looks like, and then maybe a shorebird. And it's kind of nice that as the fog goes off in the distance, that you see just enough of the tree line and some buildings in the distance, some other shore. And so you've got a lot of blacks and whites and the full range of tones involved here. And so I think it's a good capture of that special time of that morning. Next.
Contemplating Ayutthaya, Thailand.
You got some unique structures here, and this looks like you don't really know what these three people are, how they're involved, whether there's a special presentation or something going on, whether there's a point to the umbrellas or not. It's kind of hard to tell what's going on. The overcast nature kind of means that you don't have a lot of contrast in the buildings that are up there, the structures. So it raises a lot of questions as to what all this is, but it is quite unique. And I think that it's composed well to show the people and the two structures. Next.
Polo motion.
Got an action shot here of a polo rider, and the mallet's actually moving this is where you pan with a subject. The idea is to get the subject in sharp focus and let the background just kind of blur in a streak behind. This comes somewhat close to doing that, although there's just certain parts of the horse and the horse's face that are sharp. The rider is a little bit softer, and because more of the rider was moving as the shot was taken, in particular the hand and the mallet and the shoulder, everything. So, and I don't know, there's probably some sort of protective glasses or something there. So you're not seeing really much of their face. You end up having to take a lot of these and then, throwing away all but the sharpest. And in this case, there's quite a bit of the horse that is sharp, but not that much of the rider. So next.
Railside vendor, Central Cambodia.
You got your really great disappearing railroad shot here that goes off the perspective, leads you into the frame. It's another infrared, and this one looks nice and sharp. The trees on the left are nice and sharp. The trees on the right are relatively sharp. And everything, you got all the rails and the stones are nice and dark because they're cooler. You see probably what's the vendor kind of in the distance there on the right, and maybe even a younger girl there. It's a little bit hard to make out, the vendor. You might, if you're going to talk about the vendor, it might be nice to see a little bit more of the vendor, maybe a little bit closer. But the real shot here is kind of the way the railroad disappears off in the distance. And it's nice that you've got such a dark path for the rail, and then the trees flanking on both sides makes a very nice composition. Next.
Creative, advanced, 4 images. Body by design.
Well, I studied this for a long time to try to figure out what was going on. I kind of get the body part of it, but I was trying to figure out the design part of it, other than just the fact that these lines and the way they come together kind of mimic the way that I think it's like a tabletop decorations or fold out. They kind of fold out in a hex type pattern, and it kind of reminds me of something like that. This may be more material, and it looks, the best I can figure is this is the backside of a person and it's been turned kind of on its side. It's the right flesh tone to be a person, and that's mimicked in the design of the maybe material or whatever it is. But it's a unique image, and it you can end up studying it for a long time to try to figure out what's going on. So next.
Night in the city.
You definitely get the feeling of the night, and just about blue hour, and the lights from the building they've been manipulated both horizontally and vertically. And I kind of like the fact that they've been manipulated in both dimensions, because that's lends itself to the rectangular nature of most of the buildings. And so you get this, and you also have a very nice framing from the darken areas that flow around the bottom of the image, and the lighter areas that flow around the top. Makes a nice framing for the whole setup. So it's hard to say exactly how the maker constructed this, but I can tell that a lot of work went into it, and a lot of thought process. And you definitely get the idea of a night scene in the city. Next.
A colorful weed.
Well, you definitely get the color, and it's not hard to see the read part, because you've got your open book, and it looks like a lot of pages or something have been folded over, and you've got the color coming from that. You can see some images on the pages. You can see some images in the portion there. And I really like this kind of a glow, almost a halo that's extending into the background that's red, and perfectly mimics the shape there that's going on inside the book, and just kind of fades off into the distance. with the darkish border around the top. The blue gives a nice base for this sort of an image, with the red coming out of the book. The shapes of the blue, I'm not liking as much as I do the red part. The red seems to all mimic the same sort of shape going as it goes up and kind of fades into the distance. The blue, you kind of have a lot of crossing between some horizontal lines, and in particular that bright kind of a horizontal line just below the edge of the book there. I'm kind of okay with the very bottom bright horizontal line, but those other ones just kind of cut across the natural curve of the book. And so I might have liked to seen something done a little bit different there, with maybe following the actual curve of that brightest part of the book, the blue, coming forward and gradually getting more sparse, something like that. But don't, mistake my comments about that to think that I don't really like this image. The upper part of it and the way that the maker has constructed all of that, and the halo portion projecting up and getting dimmer, I think is wonderfully done. Next.
Seeing double under a Milky Way sky.
Okay, you've definitely got your Milky Way going on. And I see two images, and it looks like maybe one of them was done with some front lighting with, headlights or, light painting or something, and the other one without. Imposing those with some of the detail on each other, to me, the way that they kind of come together ends up being just a little more cluttered than, and so I'm not sure that the double image adds as much for my taste as maybe just one image in the Milky Way. Of course, that wouldn't be as creative. So you try to work with what you've got, and it does make you look and try to figure out what's going on. And I'm glad that the maker didn't try to double up on the Milky Way. So next.
Creative masters, one image. Bubbles.
We've got a great setup going on here with some light and some color and some bubbles. We've done some of these, but not this particular one. So I'm kind of intrigued with how you get this particular image. But it's a lot of wonderful color with the blues and the others going on there that you've got the light on, and then you've got just a few bubbles, not too many. Some of the bubbles are in sharper focus than others. The one in the larger bubble toward the bottom, kind of just right of center, seems to be the sharpest. And then you've got a few other bubbles that are nice and sharp. Got some of them all kind of merging together and interacting with each other as they merge. Then you have a few areas like just right in the center, down toward just lower of center, where it's kind of blurry. But I like the overall shape of the one big bubble, maybe, that keeps everything kind of framed and brought in together. And the exposure is just what I think you would like for this sort of an image, and the choice of the colors and the way the bubbles interact, I think is very unique. Next.
Take you back, all levels, 3 images. Stormy sunset.
It's you sure get the stormy part and the sunset. This, kind of reminds me of an image that you'd use for maybe decoration or something, because it's got, such nice color, and it might be able to. I saw this image. I thought, boy, it'd be nice if you had a dark silhouetted figure right there on the maybe that sand dune or whatever it is going across the image. And looking into the area would be very nice. There's, as I recall, there's also kind of a texture through the image. The texture in some cases, depending on what you're going to use the image for, kind of add to the image. If you're going to use it for more pictorial or something like that, then the texture maybe not be adding anything. So it kind of depends on what you're going to use it for. Next. Oh, there's the silhouette we're talking about. Okay. That's and you've got some sand dunes going on. Wonderful exposure on this, and with just the right amount of lighting, and you've got a silhouetted figure walking along the ridge there, and so this also has a texture, and I'm not. I think, if you're going to print it on canvas, or you put a canvas type texture on it, it's you get a certain look out of it. I'm not sure what type of a texture this is. It kind of has some streaks and some things in it. So I'm not sure where the texture came from or what you used to produce this texture, and how well it fits with the image. Next. This is a great exposure, by the way.
Sensual dune.
Here you're seeing this almost a diamond pattern type texture, even more predominant. And the image itself is even softer, almost uncomfortably so. I would like to see some part of the image, or at least the main kind of a subject area, more in sharp focus. And then you could go softer toward the edges, or maybe even more pattern texture toward the edges. And so I couldn't exactly locate the areas of the dunes that were to be, that the maker was talking about as being sensual. Sometimes you can spot, figures or animals or things in clouds and dunes. And I'm just not that creative today, apparently, because I couldn't pick out, the type of figure that was being described as sensual. So, next.
Okay. We've covered all of the images. We'll take another 5-minute break, and then we'll show the awards. Steve will narrate the award.
Okay. Great job.
Towards the end there, you were talking the bubbles. I was really wondering if that was a glass orb with blown bubbles inside. And behind it projections of stars on the ceiling. And you know, you're in a creative category and you're kind of thinking that it's a creative filter onto it, but
Oh,
I'm
no,
wondering if it was actually real.
No, I think it was real. I've seen similar things where we set up a glass on some posts and we put something that was colored like the blue and the stars down below, and we lit that from the sides. And then on top of the glass that we would coated with what's the stuff Rain-X, okay? So that when we dropped some drops of stuff on the glass, it made the bubbles type thing. But that looked like it was different. That looked like you described. Maybe there was an orb and you were blowing bubbles or something, but the liquid looked like it might have been thicker than normal water.
Okay, I've got to settle the argument here. It's my
Okay.
image. I'll tell you how I did it. Okay, 105 macro Nikkor on my new 6.2, Nikon 6.2, and I put it's a glass ball, and my wife liked it because it has all these bubbles that were inside the ball. So you'll see ones with solid glass, but this had the
Okay.
bubbles inside of it. Okay, so I tried a bunch of different things with flowers and I wasn't happy. And she goes, "Hey, I've got this material in my sewing box and it's black background with stars on it." She
Yeah.
did it for masks during the COVID thing, right? So I
Yeah.
put that as a background and I needed some extra light. So I used a mag light type of thing to illuminate the background. And so I had a couple tripods and I had to make a wood stand for the thing to get it all. But that's what it is. It's
Yeah.
a piece of sewing material in the background shot through a glass ball about 4 inches in diameter.
And so there's no liquid involved.
No liquid involved. And it was basically turning the ball. So I thought I could come up with a pleasing composition. And that's about
Okay.
it. Yeah. So it was kind
Okay.
of,
Yeah.
yeah. That,
Pictorial Basic, one image, first place. Kate,
Kate.
M key, Bill M. Thank you.
Congratulations, Kate.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
congratulations.
Great title.
Yeah, it
Fits
is.
it well.
I wonder where it is.
Where's that taken?
It's down near Joshua Tree,
Okay,
a few miles outside of Joshua Tree. Yeah.
Interesting.
it's very nice.
Nice.
Congratulations, Kate.
Thank you.
Good job.
And welcome.
Yes, welcome, welcome.
Thank you.
Pictorial Intermediate, one image, first place. Amy,
Ah.
Very nice.
Thank you. That
It
was
is.
coming into JFK a few weeks ago. And
Ah.
I was in the middle seat, so it was a little bit difficult because I had to reach across and keep interrupting.
Good
the person
job,
in
given the
window
middle
seat.
seat.
Yeah.
Yeah, middle seat.
Is that a fog bank with holes in it?
Fog bank with what?
Holes, like black, dark blue holes in it? Is it fog by the wing?
Well, it was just kind of like a little bit of a cloud cover.
Yeah,
catching the sunset, and then
Beautiful
it's
sunset.
cool to be able to see above and below the clouds. It's
Yes.
fun.
I forgot the word clouds.
Yes, cloud.
That is what I meant.
That's in other parts of the country, not here.
It's very nice.
congratulations.
Yeah, that's nice.
Very good.
Pictorial Advanced, 4 images, honorable mention. Linda,
She was gonna duck out. She was here earlier. She must have left.
congratulations to Linda. Third place. Ellen,
Oh,
This is great.
Yeah, really.
Wow.
It's
Yes.
fascinating.
I love
Very-
the title with this. It's perfect.
Yes.
And the light, just the light. Can you hear me?
Yes, no.
Okay, yeah. Well, I did just get back from a pretty amazing trip to Brazil, mainly to this Xingu area. And the first afternoon we got there, they had invited people from 6 to 8 other villages. So it was just an amazing assortment of these dancers. In the late afternoon shadows, too.
Gorgeous.
Mhm.
Great
colors.
Yeah, nice composition, really.
Really nice, Ellen.
Mhm. Mhm.
Congratulations. Second place, Stephanie.
Thank you. Can you guys hear me okay?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah, this, well, you know, I love Brazil, and she is, this cat is in the Pantanal, was there on my last trip, that we had this little staring match.
Wow.
Yes. Those eyes. Yeah.
Yeah.
She's actually, she's not very old. She's about 1.5 years old, and is actually, I think, as far as jaguars are concerned, she look pretty sweet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
First place,
Oh.
Stephanie also.
Mhm.
Wow.
Wow. That
That's
just
amazing.
blows my mind.
You need to show that at the fair next year, Stephanie.
Okay, thank
Put it
you.
in our exhibition. That's an incredible image.
Yeah, that is
Thank
It
great.
is.
Thanks, you guys. Same trip, and the yeah, to the judge's comment was that he had to be very still, and that's what they do. They just kind of float very still, and the green was the water's green because of reflection of these low-lying leaves. It's sort of not quite mangroves, but you know, low-lying, very bright green vegetation, and one of those nice surprises, you know, when you're going back through your photos, like, oh, okay.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah,
Yeah, very nice.
I'll take those surprises any day.
you bet.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Pictorial Masters, 5 images, honorable mention.
Oh.
Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
Great, great title.
One of my favorite pictures of Kansas. Mine is Dorothy. I wish I could have found her.
Yeah.
I like that
Beautiful image.
pancake plane.
I think it's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it is
me too.
gorgeous.
Yes.
Cursor on the image, though.
Mhm.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Honorable mention, Herb.
Oh, wow.
Oh, this is fun.
Hey.
Thank you.
Incoming.
Yeah, this was a last minute entry. So yeah, I appreciate Alan's comments. His critique was spot on, I think. And I need to go back and tweak this a little bit, but I liked it as a kind of a fun image. It just
Yeah.
happened. It just happened that way. So thank you.
Well, I was always torn between giving the place or giving an honorable mention so that you could, you know, take
Mhm.
my suggestions. And I that's one of the things I debated with myself a lot. And in the end, on a lot of cases, I decided, don't be so egotistical, let it go.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Congratulations.
Yeah.
Third place, Herb.
Wow.
Wow.
Thank you again. This
It's
was
fun.
on a trip to the Galapagos. I think probably handheld with the 400 millimeter, and it was just so calm in the light that morning. It was, and I again, thanks to Alan for appreciating all the subtleties that I tried to put into it. So the trees in the background and the smoothness of it all.
Yeah.
20 minutes later, it was a thunderstorm or a downpour. So everything got wet.
Wow.
So I was lucky to get this when I
Right.
did.
Wow.
Fantastic. Good timing.
A lot of work.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
Thank you.
really great.
Good job.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Bill,
Yes.
is that your cursor on the screen or Steve?
It is. It's mine. Sorry.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Second place, Herb.
Huh. Thank you.
Lori.
That's my wife, who didn't even know the picture was being taken at the time, who often features as an object of scale in my landscape imagery. And this was on a 14-day rafting trip down the Colorado River,
Wow.
camping every night and 108 degrees sometimes. And so I was pleased to get anything with those conditions.
Yes.
Not have too much sand on the sensor. So thank you again.
Oh, nice. Nice, Herb.
Thank
Did you have a blast?
Oh, yeah. Yes, yes. It was a great trip, but it's not, I was the oldest one there, and I'm decent shape. And I would say in a few years, it won't be half as much fun as it was, just because there were 8-mile hikes and 2,000 feet elevation, and there were 2 helicopter airlifts out, and it was a grueling trip. But this is a picture that I actually, one of the few that I had in mind beforehand, and I wanted to see this place, and we
Yeah.
just got there at good light, so I was lucky.
Nice.
So people in your group got airlifted out a couple times?
Yes.
Wow.
There was a bat encounter, as they say, and so one of the guys got lifted out because of that. And on another trip, a young boy who got injured with his shin. Lori actually had a bigger injury in her shin, but this boy got airlifted out because that's what they do. So
That's why you pay the insurance for the helicopter.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, that's it. So thank you.
Congratulations. First place, Tamara.
That light.
Yeah, that's
Great.
really.
Easy.
Congratulations to Tamara. Journalism, intermediate, 1 image, first place. Amy.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah, this is just like one of those creative journalism entries, wandering around my hometown, trying to come up with an idea for journalism. But yeah, I kind of got
Good
inspired.
one.
I got inspired by, there's a sign on an old building, or like the remnants of a building, that kind of told this story about how the Petaluma Mill, the fun of it, it's a gym and all this other stuff, and that, basically it still backs to the river where it used to be a granary to have shipments go down the river. And I just thought it was kind of a really interesting story. We don't really think about Petaluma being its commercial hub and, a railroad town, and it was fun to kind of delve into that history of it.
Cool.
Congratulations. Honorable mention. No, never mind. Journalism advanced 2 images. Second place, Ellen.
Wow. Yeah, thank you. This was an amazing opportunity to be in this ceremonial tent while they were painting each other. It was just pretty cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Well done.
Good job.
Yeah,
Very
very
cool.
nice.
Interesting story. How do you pronounce the tribe's name?
Quikuro.
Cool.
I love this image. It just shows how they're making their own paint from, is that a tree, a kind of a tree or something?
It's annatto seeds. You can buy that in the supermarket.
Oh,
It's
really?
it's a cheap
Wow.
way to imitate saffron.
Hmm.
Interesting.
Congratulations. First place, Pat.
Very nice.
Thank you.
All right.
Mhm.
Thank you. And for your other comments. Appreciate it.
Nice catch. Good action.
Mhm.
Yes, perfect.
Thank you.
Congratulations. Journalism Masters, 3 images. Third place,
Mm.
Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I was really fascinated by that whole story of avalanches and what they're doing about it. And boy, for such a small country, I was amazed that they organized themselves to get these structures built. It couldn't have been easy.
Good story. Good story.
How big is the town? How many people?
This town, I think, had about 2,500 people in it. It's
Oh, that's
just
small.
in that area.
Wow.
They're well organized.
Yeah. But they had them all over, even little villages near that town. This one, I just happened to be able to walk around and get pictures of the berms, and I was really surprised at how many people were out biking and hiking on those trails.
Hmm.
Unfortunately, I didn't catch one of them when I was there to take pictures. But it was, yeah, it's a really interesting thing that they do.
On your iPhone.
Yes,
Nice
on my
story,
iPhone. Yeah,
yeah.
that's what I had when I was out walking around.
Nice.
Congratulations. Second place,
Hmm.
Bill.
Thank you. Yeah, I saw an ad for this sailing event the night before on TV and kind of out of a lark, drove to the city the next morning and saw these amazing races where you have amazing access to it because they stay close to the shore.
Ah.
Oh,
I
Yeah.
expected to not see anything and they come very close. So you could get
Where was
expressions.
this?
San Francisco.
San Francisco,
Sorry,
right off
where?
right off the marina.
Oh, I'm sorry, you
Oh,
broke up.
okay.
Cool.
I love the last image that's coming up.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is
Yeah, it's
so
crazy.
amazing.
Yeah.
That is,
Awesome
I've never
styling.
seen anything like that, and it's
What a
really
capture.
cool.
I couldn't
Yes.
believe
Doesn't
it.
make me want to do it though.
I thought it was
No,
almost
absolutely
hallucinating.
not.
When you look at that, there's no mast. He's holding the wings in his hands, and his feet are strapped into the board. You've got to be a pretty good athlete to do that.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I wonder how you start.
Yeah,
Oh, you
and
got
some,
If you notice, they've got 3 footholds so they can swing around and go the other way.
exactly.
Ah.
Yeah.
Mm.
and very similar, kite surfing introduced to the Olympics this time around.
Right.
Oh,
I saw
wow.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh.
Wow, that's really unique.
Congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
First place,
Oh yeah, Gary.
Gary.
Fabulous.
Oh,
Yeah,
thank you.
Fantastic.
Yeah, I picked up the paper and early in the morning, and it said that there was the ship had been blown up on the beach. And so I went out and took pictures, had to walk about a mile down the beach to get down there. It was pretty close to the south end to Salmon Creek. And yeah, and then I had to take it from the sand dunes because they had it cordoned off. So I took quite a
Right.
few pictures there, but what was happened there is he was coming back to Bodega Bay, which is just over the hill from there. And somehow he got caught up in those big surf. And I checked the buoy and they were having 15-foot swells and 35 mile an hour winds out there. And those of us who photograph the waves, we know that salmon, when they get to 15 footers, that big boomers will start up way, way out. So it must be, and so that was pretty unique. Now, if you show me the second picture, I'll let you in on a part, and I didn't have room to put it in. You notice in the bow of the boat, you see a couple of people there. You can barely see them.
Mhm.
I have a picture of them. And what had happened is they were on the other side of the boat fastening lines, a big wave came up and literally washed him and slammed him against that bulkhead.
Oh,
And
wow.
have a picture of him, and he's not in good shape there. So that's why they
wow.
really, and one guy on the beach just said, nobody's life is worth saving that boat. And then
Yeah.
within a week or two, the whole cabin and all the rigging on top was blown off by winds.
Wow.
Not winds, waves. Waves had knocked that whole thing. And then
Mm.
Parker came out and cleaned it up. They're family people who work for Parker Diving. And so I got the story on how they were going to do that.
Cool.
Good job.
But thank you.
Yeah.
That's pretty exciting.
An
Yeah.
expensive boat to lose.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Did they manage to save any of the electronics and stuff?
Oh, no, it was all total loss.
All
As a matter
total.
of fact,
Oh,
they had to
wow.
wait until June because now Tim, who's a cousin, he diver on the area here his whole life. But we know that you get super low tides and long low tides in June. So they took part of the boat apart, but then they came back for the hull in June, about 3 or 4 months later,
Wow.
and finished removing it from the beach. But that's just so sad, It just, this
Yeah.
is his family's life, and
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
supporting them and the people working for them and stuff like
Right.
that. Yeah.
Great action shot, jumping
Thank
into the
Yeah.
bucket.
Nicely done.
I think it'll do very well at N4C.
Yep.
I think so
Yeah.
too.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Monochrome Basic, 2 images. Second place, Kate. Or
Nice.
honorable mention, I'm sorry, Kate.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, this is Central Oregon. This is the North Sister here. So
Mm.
that's yeah.
Cool.
That ring is very cool.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
That's near Sisters.
Yes. Yeah. I was a few miles outside of Sisters when I took this. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Congratulations. First place, John. I don't think he's here, but he is a new,
Congratulations, John.
a
Mhm.
very,
Congratulations.
he's also a new member.
Yeah.
Fabulous.
Yeah, that's great.
Beautiful shot.
Yeah.
Congratulations to John. Monochrome Intermediate, 1 image, first place.
Hmm.
Amy.
Yay.
Thank you. Yeah, this was, I ran up to upstate New York to shoot the eclipse in April, and I don't know if I like any of the images from the eclipse, but I did like this in the diner on the way home, so, the trip was worth it, I guess.
Fabulous.
Congratulations. Monochrome Advanced, 4 images, honorable mention. Linda.
Oh, Crescent City.
Yeah. Really,
Very nice.
really
Very
nice.
nice. Yes.
I love the dark rocks.
Yeah.
Right.
They still have, they're wrapped kind of in light. It's just really pretty.
Mm-hmm.
The froth of the surf almost leads your eye into the shot.
Yep.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
That's what I was thinking too. I
Yeah,
agree.
I caught that wave just the right time, getting that spray.
Tiny lighthouse. That's cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Linda. Third place, Ed.
Just love this.
It's fun to look at.
Very nice.
I wondered how it smells.
I was just gonna
Hearing.
Yeah.
And the sepia is a really nice choice.
thank
It,
you.
it is. It is. I agree. Yeah.
Kind of shows
Being,
that's
being in
13
Iceland,
seconds.
I'm wondering if the pipes may have something to do with keeping the oil somewhat warm so it flows.
Mm-hmm.
That
Yeah.
would be my guess too.
Yeah.
That's a really long exposure.
Yeah.
Right.
And that's interesting because
Must be dark in there.
never think of Iceland as, you know, what do they do to make money, you know, to support themselves? And you hear the oil, herring oil. So it's obvious that fishing has been a pretty big deal there, I guess.
11 millimeters, that's serious.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's a lot of herring.
Congratulations to Ed. Second place, Sherry.
Oh, thank you so much. Yeah, and thank you to Nancy for encouraging me to go. This is the Tattoos and Blues Festival.
I love that event.
Nice
It was
shot.
wonderful. I had a very busy morning, and I thought, I don't know if I have the energy, but once I walked in there, I was like, wow, this is crazy.
And it
Yeah,
was the last minute. Jerry, go to this thing.
yeah, yeah.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
it was good, and everyone was very you know, I was masked up, but I was pointing to my camera and, you know, nodding, and they were like, sure, why not? So
Yeah.
everyone was very friendly, very hospitable.
Oh yeah, the tattoo artists will actually, if you ask them, pose your camera right over their shoulder to get a close-up.
Well,
Oh.
I appreciate, yeah, having his face as the artist because of the
Right.
concentration, right?
The intensity.
Yeah, yeah.
That's
Thank
that's
you.
what makes the photo.
Well,
It
thank
does.
you.
What lens were you using, Sherry?
This was 24 to 120, so it looks like oh yeah, I had it at 35, yeah.
Oh,
So it's a
fantastic
my
lens.
little
Yeah.
walk and zoom around, yeah.
Yeah.
It's the kit lens I got with my D750, and it's like my favorite lens
Wow.
because
Yeah.
it's so flexible. Yeah.
Nice.
Congratulations.
Thank
First
you.
place, Sherry.
Oh, thank you. So I was, yeah, Marin Civic Center. I was going through images, and I took this 2017, and I just love this building, and recently went back to shoot some more images. But it's, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright's largest public building, public project, and it's just a stunner.
Yes.
Oh, that's
Yeah, thank you.
fantastic. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Very
you.
good.
Monochrome Masters, 4 images. Honorable mention to Jack.
He's not here.
He does a lot of infrared.
Mm-hmm.
I love how
That's-
the clothing glows.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations to Jack. Third place, Mike,
Ah.
who has probably gone to bed.
That's very unique.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
really
It
something.
really is.
Congratulations to Mike. Second place, Jennifer.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, it's
Cool.
actually not Maui, it's Iceland.
Oh, okay.
And these whales weren't particularly into breaching. We didn't even see a breach, let alone try to capture one. But they would just come to the surface 4 or 5 times, and then the last time you'd see that arch in their back just before they they went into a dive.
Right.
So that was really like the key. And we were in this interesting boat called a rigid inflatable boat. So we were right down at water level. It was like a Zodiac raft with
Wow.
Nice.
a floor and
Wow.
this sit astride kind of seat. And it's really interesting, a great way to go whale watching. And
Wow.
could get really pretty close to these whales. It was
Oh,
really
right.
exciting. It's about the most exciting whale watching trip I've ever been on. Anyway, thank you very much.
Yeah, very sharp.
Cool. Very cool. Almost has a graphic quality.
Yeah, nice action to it.
Mhm.
Congratulations. First place,
Oh, yeah.
Mara.
Yeah.
So beautifully captured.
Yeah. She's amazing.
He has such a good eye.
Yeah, she does.
Congratulations to Tamara. Creative Advance, 3 images. Third place, Ellen.
Thank you. This is not fabric, this is body painting.
Yep.
Oh.
Oh, yes.
Okay.
Okay.
Oh, nice.
Put it on its side because I
Right.
like lines.
It's really cool.
It really is. Wow.
Excellently seen. Wow.
No,
The
you had a,
the colors.
you had a similar picture, but it was vertical instead of horizontal, and that's what threw us.
I had a similar one, vertical. No.
If not you, someone else.
Someone did. I remember that too.
Stephanie had one in one of our shows.
That was a couple years ago, yeah.
Yeah.
Same area of the world.
They did a very good job of keeping those lines sharp.
Yeah, well, I
Gorgeous.
actually propped way in on an image to get this, and at any rate, it was fun.
Gorgeous.
Congratulations. Second place, Trisha.
This was an SRPS field trip that Lugene Lamalfa organized years ago. And I was playing for the first time with doing motion blur double exposures and doing one front on and one sideways. And it was part of a larger project, but I really love this image. So thank you.
Yes.
Love the colors.
Very nice.
Very good.
Thanks.
Congratulations. First place, Linda.
Wow.
I had a feeling.
Yeah.
That was a COVID indoor field trip.
Right.
You remember those?
Yeah. Yeah, that was a fun project too.
Yeah, it was.
Interesting.
Wish she was here. I'd like to know how she got that halo effect.
She told me.
Congratulations to Linda. Creative Masters, one image, first place.
Surprise.
Gary.
Yeah, surprise. Thank you. Spilled the beans there, but I had to settle the argument, or it wasn't really an argument. But I don't know if anybody, I pretty much explained it at the break. If anybody didn't hear that, let me know and I can tell you. But anyway, that was fun to play with.
Yeah.
There's a space robot in there on the left.
I know, you can see so many little things going on, and as you turn that bubble, and the one thing with this is dealing with glass, I had to do some cloning because there's reflections that come on that are unexpected. And the same thing, so, and because the way the depth is, and of course, anytime you have curvature of a glass, it's like a lens and it distorts. So you get all these crazy shapes with the stars, but also, it's like the big bubble and then the bubble behind it. You can see one's out of focus. It just crazy stuff. But you just play with it and have fun with it, and that's all I did.
Very cool.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And best of show for the evening.
Drum roll.
I knew it.
Yeah, that's so unique.
Very good.
Fantastic.
I gotta agree with you, Alan.
I'm gonna have nightmares.
And that eye is just
The eye, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's like I keep looking at that eye.
Yeah,
And it's like,
same here.
wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
Don't forget the teeth that are coming out of
Those
his
little-
snout.
Yeah.
Right.
Oh,
Yeah.
wow, I didn't
The
notice
way
that.
the way the teeth come through, on the crocodile.
Wow,
Just to
yeah.
make sure whatever they bite into is actually going to be dead.
Yeah, really.
Thank
Been
you.
at
Thank
it for a long time.
Thank you, Ellen.
Yes, thank
Oh,
you.
it was my pleasure.
Thank you,
And,
Stephanie.
I hope I got it right in most of the cases.
Oh, yeah, he did a good
Oh,
job.
thank
Yeah,
you.
good
Really
job.
great
Yeah.
feedback.
So much.
It's always nice to have a new
Yeah.
judge, and I always like to hear what their story is too, so
Mhm.
Yeah.
thank you.
Yeah.
Really good.
So-
Thanks.
Okay. Yeah.
Good job.
All right.
Good
All
night.
right.
Night, everybody.
Everybody.
Good night.
Bye.
Okay.